Hey, what's going on, everyone? Team Rival here, hitting you up with a Halo Reach thoughts and impressions video. Most of the time I'm in front of the camera when I do my thoughts and impression, but I had to redo the settings on my capture card because I told you I had all those computer troubles, so all that data got erased. So I was setting up some new settings for the capture card and my Sony Vegas to use with the gameplay footage. Hopefully this turns out pretty good. But I know why you guys are all here, and you guys want to hear what I have to say about Halo Reach, and I have a pretty decent amount to say, so you might want to get a bag of popcorn or something, or strapping, because this is kind of the big game of the year, I think. You know, every game has their big games. Like last year was Call of Duty. Everyone couldn't wait for Call of Duty, and now it's Halo Reach. And does it live up to the expectations and hype that it has? No game ever could, but does it at least try to? I'll kind of explain how I feel about it. It's a good game. I'll say that right off the bat. It's a very well-made game, but not without some problems, as are most games. They all have problems. Okay, so we'll get the easy stuff out of the way. The campaign is forgettable at best. The story is that this is a prequel to all the Halo series, and you find out why there are no longer any Spartans on Earth or space or anywhere, and Master Chief is the only one. You find that out. It's 10 levels long. You'll blast through it. I beat it in 2 days, and I might play it again just for Legendary, but aside from that, nothing really special. On the other hand, let's talk about the matchmaking, which the majority of this will be about the matchmaking. So, there's a level up system in the game. You can go, you'll play games, and for each game you complete, you'll get a certain amount of points. You don't really get too many points for getting kills, I don't think. It's more about just completing the actual game, and there's like a slot machine that'll give you a certain random amount of points. I don't know how they figure it out, some weird algorithm or something. And so there's that, and then with those points you will buy new armor upgrade. Well, they're not really upgrades, just different pieces of armor. That's all. So like my guy, honestly, I've only leveled up like 5 times. And my guy's kind of already the way I want him. You know, there's a few more things I want, but other than that, you know, my guy's pretty set in stone, which is kind of surprising because in a game like Call of Duty, you're leveling up. Not to always draw the comparison between Call of Duty and Halo, but what other first-person shooters are there that are, you know, at this level? At these two games are at, they're almost, you know, equals to each other in a sense. In Call of Duty, you know, you'll have a lot of replayability. Honestly, I think the only reason I'm going to play this is just to get, you know, just to have fun. I don't really care about leveling up or any of that stuff. I'm just going to try to have fun with this game. And then so there's different playlists you can select from. There's like Team Slayer, which is just, you know, kill team deathmatch, just kill the other guy. Team Objective, where there's you have objectives to complete, like capture the flag or whatever. Never really played Team Deathmatch that much. Invasion, which is like a domination from Call of Duty, if I had to draw a comparison. Once again to Call of Duty, of course. And there is, you know, Rumble Pit, which is one-player games. Different assortment of one-player games, which kind of sucks because there's like a race mode. And people always pick race, and I'm like, I don't want to race around in Halo. If I want to play a racing game, I'm going to play Mario Kart or something where there's like power-up. In the race, in this game, not to just, you know, completely go off on a tangent, if you fall behind at all, you will only win if the other guy screws up. Like, if the other guy never screws up, then you're okay. But aside from that, there's a few other modes, firefight and stuff, which I'll talk more in depth about all these modes. I'm just trying to name them all. There's a few more, but whatever. And so you'll pick a map, you'll pick a playlist. The matchmaking will find players to play, which thankfully it works a lot better than Halo 3. Halo 3, I remember, had very subpar matchmaking. Sometimes it would take like 5 minutes for me to find people to play with. And then, you know, you'll get in the lobby, and there will be 3 choices. Well, 4 choices. There will be like Slayer or like Classic Slayer. That'll be the first choice. Like, you'll just play a normal game, you know, without any sort of special weapons that you'll play with. And then there's like a Slayer, like DMR or Slayer Pro, which is again with the DMR, which is this Halo Reach's version of the battle rifle, except it's a single shot now. But it pretty much looks like a battle rifle. And then the last game is like snipers or SWAT, which SWAT is where you use the DMRs and pretty much you just got to get headshots on everyone. And or none of the above. You can vote none of the above once, and if it gets passed the next round, you have to pick something. You can't just none of the above again. And then so you get into the game. Well, no, not even that. The biggest problem I have with this freaking matchmaking, it works very well. Except, let's say hypothetically, I don't want to play snipers. I'm not a big fan of playing snipers. I think that should be more of like something you'll do in like a custom game. You should always be able to use any weapon you want and not be limited to stupid a sniper and a handgun, or a DMR and a handgun. And that's really frustrating when you'll get stuck into a game and you can't exit out of it because this is, not to once again draw a comparison to Call of Duty. I think it's inevitable, quite honestly. And you can't back out of the games. And so you'll be stuck in this game. And unless you, like, exit out to the Xbox dashboard or whatever, do some extremely unnecessary thing, that takes a while, you're screwed and you gotta play that game. So that I find to be a little bit frustrating. I'm not too big a fan of that, in my opinion. I think you should always be able to have the choice of leaving the game or not if you're not satisfied. Because some people are terrible snipers. So what are you going to put a gun to their head? Not to make a pun. And tell them to play snipers? That's just stupid in my opinion. But anyway, so then you get into the game and the first thing you see is like before the match starts is you can pick like different power-ups. There's like one that's sprint, and those are all controlled. Default control is LB on that, and you'll do like a sprint. There's an armor lock, which you like punch the ground and you're invulnerable, but you can't move. Which that has its pros and cons, because unless someone comes to your rescue, you're pretty much screwed. There's like a cloaking device, which that's pretty cool, but you kind of got to know how to use it. You can't just run around because people will see you. And there's hologram, and hologram is probably my favorite one. You'll put out a literal hologram of yourself. You'll tell it where to go. Like you'll point, and you'll see how I use it. You'll point somewhere with your reticle, and then hit LB, and then that hologram will run in that direction. And that can be really useful if you know how to use it. You can't just obviously if you're fighting someone and you throw out a hologram, he sees you throw out the hologram, so he's not going to fall for it. But you got to use it, where they don't see it, so they think it's you, and they'll shoot at it. You'll know where they are, and then you pop out and you shoot them. So anyway, getting back on track. So you'll get into the game. And the one thing I really, really am disappointed with in this game is the weapon selection, which in other prior Halo games, you would be able to use any sort of weapon in the game. Like if you wanted to use a fuel rod gun, a fuel rod cannon, you could use that. But no, not here. You can't use it here. You are limited to a very, very limited selection of weapons that are pretty much all weak. There are really no guns that... shotgun is pretty good close range, but long range, it sucks. It's terrible. The assault rifle, you could put a whole clip into someone and maybe you'll lower their armor. The handgun, you could put a whole clip into someone and not lower their armor. Trust me, I've done it. And that's getting all headshots pretty much, Well, not to say that, but I'm just saying, in prior Halo games, I was really disappointed. I mean, I was really impressed with how, you could use every single weapon and it could be fun. And in this game, can't really do that, and here's why I think they did that. Let me tell you why. I think they did that because they are trying to keep the games as even as possible. You will notice it when you play this game. There will very, very, very rarely, it does happen, very rarely you will get into a match, and it'll pretty much be even the whole entire time, which is, I think, very, very good that they've done that. It's not like in Call of Duty someone gets a chopper gun or an AC-130, and then all of a sudden they're up like 25 kills, and then you're not going to come back, and then people quickly quit out. Although it does happen from time to time, but it's usually 5-10 kills ahead, maybe 15. Most I've ever seen is like someone 50 to 20, 25, and I was usually on the good side of that, not the bad. So that in that regard, I'm not too happy with that. And what else is there? There's a few more things I wanted to discuss. Another thing is that aside from like invasion or big team battle, there's no weapons in not weapons, vehicle weapons, whatever you want to call them, in any maps. And it's really frustrating because that was the coolest thing I loved about Halo that Call of Duty never had. SOCOM 3 have vehicles, and now Call of Duty doesn't have vehicles, and now Halo barely has any vehicles. And I loved getting me, and two other guys hopping in the Warthog. I'm on the gun, taking those fuckers down, killing them. Now, nope, can't do that anymore. You gotta go into a different playlist, unless you play a custom game, which leads me to my next point about custom games. Custom games are good. I think it depends on the map, though. You gotta really know how to make the map. You can't just make a map and be like, oh, okay, now it's good, it's fine now. You gotta be able to tweak this thing and make it playable. Because let's say, for example, you make a map and you put a Scorpion on the map, and then it's close to one team's base, so that one team is always going to have that advantage. So you got to make sure you know how to balance that. And quite honestly, I don't really mess around with custom games too much. I will play them. Untouchable Force, you guys know him. Him and I play custom games from time to time, but I usually like to stay on the Team Slayer and play these maps. 13 maps in the game. Some of them are rehashes from other Halos. Like they kept this, like this is from Halo 3. This map, the map I'm playing, I think. But they've in case you can tell, they've really like edited it. It hardly looks the same, but you just barely know that it's the same map. And then another thing I wanted to say that's cool about custom maps is apparently people are starting to create other games maps in this game. Like I heard someone made the facility from GoldenEye in it, which in my opinion is the best first-person shooter of all time. Any other game can suck a dick. And they've made maps from other Halos and stuff. So that's really cool. I really like when people do that. It's kind of, a throwback to your roots, more or less. So that was pretty cool. Anything else? I had a lot more to say. This is actually the second time I'm recording this, because the first time the audio was all poppy, so it kind of pissed me off. Oh yes, the health and the armor. Let me explain that. That's something good to explain. Unlike in prior Halos, I did not play ODST, but I'm assuming that it was the same. No, the same as the other Halo games. Now, you do not have a full recharging health bar. Now, everything works as you have an armor bar, and then you have a health bar. So let's say you get hit, they drain your armor bar, and they keep shooting you. You will lose little bars on your health. And you can always refill that. You'll see right there on the left, there was a health pack on the wall. And you pick that up, and then that gives you full health. And also, I want to talk about Firefight. Firefight is probably the coolest mode in this game, in my opinion. You get 4 guys going, you go co-op, and you go in there, and it's like Horde mode in Gears, but infinitely better than Horde mode, in my opinion. Not to, sound like I hate Gears. Although I kind of do, I'm not going to lie, I kind of hate Gears. And you'll go through like 5 rounds, though, and you'll either have a set amount of lives, like 10 is usually the set, or you can have infinite amount of lives. And you'll just go in there and you'll try to kill as many guys. People will come in and like drop ships, and then they'll drop soldiers off. There's like elites, grunts, every single like tough kind of enemy you could think in this game. So, and you'll fight them. Sometimes there's like a rocket fight, depending on which mode you pick when you go into matchmaking, because you can do firefight matchmaking, which is really cool. And you go into that, and you'll do that, and that's really fun. I have a lot of fun with that. Anyways, guys, I'm kind of running out of time here. Bottom line is, chances are, if you want this game, you've already picked it up. If you're looking, if you're tired of Call of Duty, don't pick this up. It's more of the same. But other than that, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay videos. I'll keep them coming. Probably not of Halo, though. Take it easy.